Hello, welcome year 9. Today we are going to do the second video for year 9 in math. So on Monday we have the third unit assessment and we are going to work in 3 exercises of solving simultaneously linear equations, or the name that I like, solving a system of equations. The first method that we are going to do today is the graph method, as you can see. So the graph method consists into doing the, the graph of the two equations that we have. In order to work this method, the first step is going to always make the y alone. So in the first equation we have x plus 3y equals 6. If I want to make the y alone, should be 3 times y equals minus x plus 6. This number 3 will go and divide everything. And we are done with the first equation. Now, if I want to make the y alone in the second equation, what do I have is minus 2y equals minus 5x plus 13. Now, y equals, the problem here is that the y should be positive. So in order to make it positive, I should multiply everything by minus 1. If I multiply everything by minus 1, I will have 2y equals it's not going to be minus anymore, 5x minus 13. So the thing that is happening is that all the signs are changing. This is a positive, this is a positive, and this change into a negative sign. Now that the 2y is positive, I can put the letter y alone. 5x minus 13 divided by 2. Now that everything, two equations are in the way that they are supposed to, I'm going to take these equations, and in order to graph, we are going to do a table. The best way to work in a table is that we are going to grab all the values from 0 to 4. So I will replace the values of 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I will put them into the equation. Now what do I have here? If I put a 0, for example, I have minus 0 plus 6 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3, it will be just 2. Now, if I replace the first value, that is the other value, that is 1, what I'm going to have is that minus 1 plus 6, it will be just 5 divided by 3. As you can see here, this is a fraction which represents a decimal value. A decimal value is not very comfortable to work, or well, to plot into the graph. So we are not going to work with that value. We are going to work with the values that they are integers, like the first point here. If I replace the value of 2, I will have minus 2 plus 6 divided by 3. Minus 2 plus 6 is just 4. I will have 4 divided by 3. Again, is just a decimal value, not very comfortable to work with. And then, if I replace the number 3, I have minus 3 plus 6 divided by 3. This is just 3 divided by 3. It will be 1. So it's a very comfortable point to work with, to plot into the graph. If I try the next value, it's just 4. Minus 4 plus 6 divided by 3. This is just 2 divided by 3. 2/3, as you can see. Again, it's not a very comfortable value to work with. Now I will do the same with the other equation. What do I have? The first value, 0. 5 times 0 is just 0. Minus 13 divided by 2. Minus 13 divided by 2. Unfortunately, it's not a value that we can put in the graph very easily. But what are we going to do is to try to keep putting all the values and see, like in the previous table, just to work with the values that they are integers, that they are not decimal. For example, 0, 2, 3, and 1. The next point I will have is when I replace the value of 1 here. 5 times 1 minus 13 divided by 2. 5 times 1 is just 5, minus 13 is minus 8, divided by 2 is minus 4. Minus 4 here. Let's keep moving with the values. If I replace the number 2, 5 times 2 is just 10. Minus 13 over 2. I do have minus 3 over 2. Again, it's not a very comfortable value to work with. Now, I can erase this, and I will replace this value. 5 times 3 minus 13 divided by 2. 5 times 3 is just 15. 15 minus 13 divided by 2. This is 2 over 2. The value will be 1. Now, I will put the last value I have is 4. 5 times 4 minus 13 divided by 2. 5 times 4 is 20 minus 13 divided by 2. 20 minus 13 is 7 over 2. 7 over 2. So, now that we have all these values, we can work just with the whole numbers. For example, I will use as coordinates 0, 2, 3, and 1. If I try to do it with the other values, I will have decimal places, and putting decimal places in a line is not very comfortable to work with. So for the first equation that is in blue color, I will put 0, 2, 0, 2, we have 0, 2, and we have 3, 1. 3, 1. What I'm going to do next is just I will join the dots, and it will become a line. As you can see, that's the line, the linear equation for the first one. In black color, we are going to use 1 minus 4, 1 minus 4 here, and 3, 1. So we can write 1 minus 4, 1 and minus 4 is down here. And the next point, it will be 3, 1. 3 and 1. As you can see, we already have the answer. We can join the points here. And we have the intersection. The intersection is the answer, remember. That's the third step. The third step is always to look for the intersection. So in the intersection here, the value of this as a coordinate will be 3 and 1. This is the answer that you need to find in the test. Now, this is the first exercise. The second one, we are going to work this system of equation by the substitution method. Substitution method. Alright? So always in substitution method, what are we have to do? What are we going to do? First is we have to choose which equation you want to put a variable along. For example, for the first one, we have 10x plus 18y equals minus 11. And I have to put along one variable. In this case, I will put along x. So we can work in always, I know that in class we put along y, but in this time we are going to put along x. So we have 10x equals minus 18y minus 11. Now this 10 will go and divide everything. So we have x equals minus 18y minus 11 over 10. So before I continue, remember I like to keep the order, and the first step in the substitution method, the first step is to put x or y alone. So you have to choose any equation. I have chosen this one. You have to choose one equation and you have to choose which variable you want to be alone. In this case, I have chosen the first one, the x. So now that x is alone, the second step is that we have to replace in the other equation. So the first equation is the one that I have chosen, the first one. And I will replace this value of x in the second one. So the second equation, the other equation, is 16x minus 9y equals minus 5. Now, what I have to do here is that instead of writing the value of x here, I have to write all of this. So instead of writing x, the thing that I have to do is to write 16 parentheses minus 18y minus 11 over 10 minus 9y equals minus 5. As you can see, it's the same equation, but instead of writing x, I have written this one. Now this is just a equation of one variable. The only variable here is y. I have to work with this equation. The problem right here is that we have a fraction. So now, in order to work with this fraction that is not very comfortable with, what I'm going to do is the following. If you are not very comfortable to work with this fraction I can multiply by everything by 10, and I will have 16 minus 16y minus 11 divided by 10 multiplied by 10 minus 9y equals here I forgot to multiply everything by 10, and this equals minus 5 also multiplied by 10. What do we have now is that this number 10 that is multiplying everything will make this 10 and this 10 go away. Now we don't have any fractions. Now what do we have? 16 multiplied by minus 18y minus 11. 9 multiplied by 10 is just minus 90, and this will be minus 50. I have a distribute property here. 16 times 18 will give me 288. So we do have 288 y negative, and 16 multiplied by 11, it will be 16 multiplied by 11, we have 176 minus 90y equals minus 50. We can solve this equation here, minus 288 minus 90, we'll have here minus 378y and in the other side, this one we have to go in the other part, and we have minus 50 plus 176. So we have now 378y equals 126. Okay, so as an answer, what do we have here is 126 divided by minus 378. Now the value here it will be, if we do this substitution, we have minus 126 divided by 378. We'll have minus 1 over 3. Just by this time, the answer will be a fraction. Now, to find the other value in the system of equation, I do have to replace this value here in one of the two equations that I want. For example, if I do have this one, if I have this one, and I will copy and paste it here, I can choose whichever equation I want. For example, I will choose the first one. This is the third step. In the third step, remember, the third step, I have to replace the value of y. We have to replace the value of y in an equation. Which equation I have to choose? I will replace in the first equation, as I said before, so I have 10x plus 18y. Instead of y, I have to write minus 1 over 3 equals minus 11. So now we can simplify this. It will become 6, and 10x plus we have 6 times minus 1, it will be minus 6 equals minus 11. This goes to the other side, and I will have this one. X equals minus 11 plus 6, it will be just 5. Well, negative 5, and x it will be minus 5 over 10. X is going to be minus 1 over 10. Well, sorry, minus 1 over 2 here. There I did a mistake. Now the answer here, as you can see, the answer, we have fractions. I know this one is a little bit longer than expected. In the test, you are not going to have decimals or fractions as answers. I will take care of that. I didn't expect this exercise to be that hard. So for number 6, this is as a homework, you can copy. And as the last one, we have to move. We have the elimination method. The elimination method is the last method we have seen in class. And it consists that we have to eliminate a variable. We have to choose. This one is the shortest and easiest method for doing system of equations. Now, the first step, it was to eliminate variable. You can choose the variable. In this case, I will choose to eliminate the variable y, in this case. What I have to make sure is that these two variables have the same number and the opposite sign. In this case, they have different number, 1 and 5, and the signs are the same, positive and positive. What we have to do then? In order to make these two variables the same number, I will multiply this number 5 into the other equation, by the other equation, and this number 1 to the other equation. Here I will copy so we have more space. If I multiply everything, it's okay, but there is one problem. 5 times 3, let's do the multiplication. What do we have then? 5 times 3 is 15x. 5 times 1 is just 5 times y. And 5 times 12 is just 60. If I multiply everything by 1 down here, what do I have is the same. 4x, 5y, minus 38. So the main problem here is that we have the same number, but they are the same sign. So in order to make it the opposite sign, I will put a negative number. I can decide whichever here or here. I will put a negative sign here. So in this way, it will be minus 4x. It's not going to be plus 5y anymore. It's going to be minus 5y and plus 3. In this way, we have 15 minus 4 is 11. 11x. Sorry, this is not supposed to be with green. It will be 11x. Here, what is going to happen is that they will go away. I will have 0. And minus 60 plus 38. It will be minus 22. The answer we have 11x equals minus 22. X equals minus 22 over 11. So we have minus 2 as an answer. As you can see, we have already the value of the first equation, and here I have forgotten to put the next step. When we eliminate the variable, the next step, the second step here, is that we have to solve the equation, right? We have to solve the equation. If we solve the equation, as you know, the answer will be minus 2. Now that we have the value of x, we are going to replace, the third step is to replace the value, in this case of x, in an equation. So I have to decide which equation. I will put it in the first one. So we have 3x plus 1 times I equals minus 12. And instead of writing x, I will write minus 2. So we have 3 times minus 2 plus y equals minus 12. 3 times minus 2, minus 6. Minus 12. This will go to the other side, so we have minus 12 plus 6. The answer will be minus 6. As you can see, this method is one of the easiest and shortest ones in order to find the values of x and y in a system of equations. So remember the answer should be in a coordinate -2 and -6, and this is the answer. And well, in the last exercise I forgot that the answer should be also in a coordinate form, so we have -1.5 and -1/3. So that will be all for today. I hope you were doing your homework. Remember, any questions, anything you want to ask, you can ask me through Teams. I'm always open. This exercise, remember, the test will be about this exercise, especially the mini assessment. This one, I didn't know it was that hard. I will not put it in the test. Remember, the test is not going to have any answer as a fraction. So that will be everything for today. Thanks for watching. Please write to me if you got any questions. And see you on Monday, guys.